Hello, 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 and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. I almost said JNJtabletop presents Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. I feel like that would have been appropriate, and I feel like I failed in my job as host.
It's okay, I had Dragons of Ice Fire in my head.
Try again.
Take two.
I could just edit this in post. Or not. Anyways, my name's Jake. I'm one of the J's of JNJtabletop, and I am the dungeon master for this magnificent group that sits here on screen with me, starting with the Master Yoda Hawaiian I am sitting right there in the middle in the top. Michael, why don't you say hello? Hello. Excellently done. And next to Michael is Josh. You guys are freaking awesome.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little nervous that you said this is the greatest episode. You know, I feel like we really gotta bring it tonight.
I just feel like it just gets better every time. It's the latest and greatest. So like each time I say it, it can be true.
But if you don't say it next time, though, then this was the greatest episode.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. You would probably
then we peaked.
You just that's the good thing. You're pre-recording, so you release them in order of greatest.
Exactly. Like, wasn't this chapter 3?
Intro out, put it in front of whichever is the actual.
Yeah.
Who cares about the continuity of the story?
Who cares about that? Yeah. You confuse your
secondary.
I give a recap. It's fine.
You know what would be really funny though is if you cut that little part, the greatest episode, and you just like insert it like at the beginning of every episode, but you wearing that shirt, so it's like obviously cut into the episode.
We haven't been changing outfits mid-episode already.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to just try and like sneak it in like a little Easter egg. Just be like,
It's the
like
greatest
and have
episode.
like you just
Latest
kind of
and
like
greatest.
pop into a corner.
This one's really true. I mean it this time. Yeah. Oh boy. Josh, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
That's it.
Okay.
No, it's not going to be. I was thinking about Kwood. Well, you should check out Kwood Publishing regardless. But the particular reason I'm thinking about that probably isn't going to matter by the time you're seeing this. So
we did do some videos.
We did.
So
That's true.
Could be looked at.
Yeah, so check out, we have a bunch of videos with Kwood, but we have 2 videos that are the newest ones, where we go over monsters of the dungeon. One of them is like a table talk interview with Andrew, who's he's the guy who runs Kwood Publishing. It's his baby. And then the other one, he takes us through a little mini adventure. So it was a fun ride. Check
Josh
that
and
out.
I were players in the same game.
Almost never happens.
Yeah, it was fun. So Ricky, why don't you say hello?
Hello, it is I, Ricky. I don't have anything to say other than I wore a Hawaiian shirt today because I wanted to match Michael's energy.
Yes.
I saw and I appreciated because someone decided not to anymore.
Listen, it's cold. The only reason I'm not wearing a Hawaiian shirt is because I'm...
It was a game time decision, and today was laundry day, so it worked out.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that when I turned in the right direction.
It's like wearing
a panic when you're like,
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. If it's the wrong direction, then you know what? Oh well, Jake.
He's stepping it up. Well, I'm actually. I'm wearing my Met shirt, which the last 4 times I wore my Met shirt, we canceled, so I had to break the curse. But clearly, I mirrored because
at least
I normally
some
face
curse
this
is
way.
broken.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Are they playing today? Is that the reason?
No. Well, they
do
are
they
playing
even
today.
play when they have a game?
You know what?
There we go.
I think that's a good introduction for you, Nooch.
My name's Nooch and I'm still in my pajamas because I work from home.
I'm in my PJs too. Same reason. It's magnificent.
Yeah.
I am too, and I do work from home, but that's not why I'm in my PJs. I'm in my PJs because it's 8 o'clock at night.
I feel like that's valid.
Yeah,
Anyways.
Now I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt over a hoodie like some sort of Chicago Magnum PI.
Oh, there you go. Shout
Like
out
an
to
extra
all
in
the
Clerks.
all the viewers from
That's
Chicago.
exactly it.
Oh my goodness.
Gonna be one of those episodes, everybody.
Yes.
So-
Buckle up.
Yep. We do some introductions. Michael, you're playing Fontaine, the Artificer, right?
Yes.
Subclasses have been chosen, but you gotta watch to see, because that's fun. Josh is playing Zugarf, the Orcish Barbarian. Subclass chosen, gotta watch to see. Ricky playing Domingo, the Ardling Rogue. Subclass has been chosen, gotta watch to see. But we already know Hjulbrek, who's Nooch's character. He's
He was prepared.
light domain. He was prepared. He was good. He's a prepared boy.
A good lad.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note, it is actually time to try and do a recap, because we had some pretty big things happen the last time that we played. It was kind of like a thing, right?
Some would say.
Yeah. I mean,
what kind of things happened?
so that's I'm happy you asked, Josh. So when we last left off, our group of adventurers here, the aforementioned Fontaine, Zugarf, Domingo, and Hjulbrek, have been doing a lot of good deeds around Stormwreck Isle. Each of you have come here for your own reason or another. Multiple, maybe? Maybe some unknown even to you, as you already are. Who knows? But you recently came back from the wreckage of the Compass Rose, where you were able to ascertain the great mystery of why the zombie people's sailors were coming and doing their thing to somewhat regularly harass the cloister of Dragon's Rest. Seemed to coincide with shipwrecks. I know that usually would happen with sailors. They weren't like cute sailor costumes, like little baby zombies in a little like sailor costume. They were. It was gross.
Wasn't
And
like
ins-
Popeye.
It wasn't like Popeye, no. But nice. You think a zombie would eat spinach? I don't think they would.
You know, brains are kind of like spinach.
Probably
Way.
same consistency, right?
Like gray spinach.
Oh,
I feel like
gray matter. It matters.
if brains
Gray
came
matter.
in a can, it would look like the spinach that comes in the can in
Yeah.
Popeye cartoon.
Imagine if you just see a bunch of zombies walk in with like forearms that are 3 times the size of their biceps. And they come in there. It's weird. Anyway, back to the recap. While you were there, you found a journal of the captain, who had discovered or told the tale of 2 lovers. One that was at Dragon's Rest waiting for his wife. And there was a little talisman of their hair braided together. Some other creepy stuff going on.
Around some finger bones.
Finger bones, yeah. Even worse. But once things were not looking so good, the wife called out to Orcus, the demon lord prince himself. She ended up turning into a ghoul. It became this big thing. And now there was like this curse on the talisman, which you have now brought back to Dragon's Rest. And as you were discussing things with Elder Runara, Hjulbrek came to what some might call an intuitive leap and asked Runara what a dragon would be doing. How did he phrase it? What a dragon would be doing on this island?
Something along those lines. It sounded
And-
really cool. You should go watch that episode.
Yeah. It hasn't been a long time for us. And lo and behold, Hjulbrek was right on the money. Varnoth and Runara exchanged knowing glances, and Runara changed into a bronze dragon right in front of the group. And so before I go into the next scene, Michael, I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, you were like, well, that was unexpected. What is Fontaine's what's going on with Fontaine right now in this moment?
Honestly, I don't know.
I was gonna say, he's always the interesting one in this way.
I mean, I think it would catch him off guard, but probably more so than anything, he's quiet. And that's probably the biggest change, because I feel like he's ends up talking a lot, even in situations, like when he shouldn't be. But it's because he knows enough about dragons just in general to where one, to realize this is not this doesn't happen every day. You don't just walk up on a dragon, So he's just kind of
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of common knowledge it is. I think we could call that some kind of perhaps there have been myths and stories that are maybe you tell children oh, be careful who you're mean to. They might be a dragon in disguise. That kind of a thing. But here, this really large bronze dragon now stands before you, wings kind of unleashed in all its glory. And I think at some point when you look back up to these vibrant green eyes, there is still a recognition of the person you know. It's not just oh my gosh, it's this thing I mean, yes, it's shocking, but there is a familiarity there. And she says, "Now you see me as I truly am." And she tilts her head with an expression that might actually be a little bit of a smile. And she looks at Hjulbrek in particular on that one, because he totally called it. As you have discovered, this island has many old wounds, and I'm afraid the cycle of violence has started again. Two families of dragons came into being in the very first days of the world's creation. Bahamut, the noble platinum dragon, made the metallic dragons, gold, silver, bronze, brass, and copper. Cruel five-headed Tiamat made the chromatic dragons, red, blue, green, black, and white. The metallic and chromatic dragons share a mutual animosity that originates in the enmity between Bahamut and Tiamat. The origin of Dragon's Rest is rooted in that animosity. Ages ago, a fire-breathing red dragon called Sharuth rampaged up and down the Sword Coast. 3 metallic dragons joined forces to battle Sharuth and imprisoned her beneath the ocean floor, believing seawater would quench her fire and keep her bound forever. But Sharuth's fury, legend says, caused the undersea volcanic activity that formed Stormwreck Isle. In all likelihood, Sharuth is long dead and entombed beneath the island. But chromatic dragons whisper that she still lives and will one day emerge from her prison. One fact is undeniable. The powerful magic embodied in such an ancient dragon has left a permanent mark on Stormwreck Isle. That magic has drawn other dragons to the island throughout the centuries, making it a recurring battlefield in the conflict between chromatic and metallic dragons. Several of these dragons have died there, each leaving behind a spiritual scar that causes unpredictable magical effects. kind of looks down for a moment, gathers herself a bit. 100 years ago, a blue dragon tried to harness this destructive magic, and I pleaded with him to abandon his schemes. When he refused, I killed him, adding one more dragon grave to the island. I have grown weary of strife, and Stormwreck Isle's wounds are a constant reminder to me of the cost of such conflict. So now I devote myself to peace and reconciliation. I establish the Cloister of Dragon's Rest as a safe haven from violence. Her brow furrows a little bit. A bronze wormling named Adron came to the island a few months ago and studied with me here at Dragon's Rest. 5 days before you arrived, he argued with me and angrily rejected my teaching of peace, and then stormed away from the cloister. She glances over at Fontaine. I am afraid he went to the ancient observatory on the southeast side of the island, which is another dragon's final resting place. I suspect some evil has arisen there, but I dare not go there myself, lest my presence reopen old wounds. So you see, I have one more favor to ask of you. Each of you has come here for a reason. If a dragon's face could soften, it does in this moment, and she glances over to Hjulbrek. Wise and insightful Hjulbrek. Destiny, purpose, calling. Many find themselves wrapped up in the specifics of what these concepts imply. But consider this. You have been blessed by Lathander for a reason. And that reason is simple. You. So do not fret over that which you do not know. Wherever your path takes you, you will be a beacon of Lathander's light. She takes her massive claw hand, whatever you want to look at it, and just gently puts it on your shoulder for a moment. She turns to Zugarth next. Thoughtful and contemplative Zugarth. You have great power inside of you. But avoiding it does not help you master that power. I fear it only means you are limiting yourself in the good you can do with it while you are still here. Domingo. Passionate and fiery. Your pain and loss is great, and I am sorry it has been difficult to navigate. I fear you will not find the peace you seek in your anger. You may only prolong your suffering by holding on to it. Looks down for a moment. Remember, others are not responsible for the expectations that you place upon them. Turns to Fontaine. Brilliant and inventive Fontaine. The search for knowledge is a noble pursuit, but do not diminish your accomplishments. You might be surprised at how much you already know, and how much you can already do. Then she kind of takes her other hand and opens it up in front of fontaine. And in it you see a 3-inch long, 1-inch wide hexagonal prism made from moonstone with a dragon's head engraved on one end. I said I would give you access to the observatory, and you will need this to get inside. She just stands there with her hand open.
I reach out and take it. Thank you. You said the power at the observatory is evil?
I fear it is.
Fontaine just kind of nods.
But power in and of itself isn't as important as what you do with it. Something to consider. I know this is a lot for all of you to take in. What is going on with Hjulbrek right now?
I think definitely contemplative, but also kind of feeling like a little bit empowered, like he kind of like is starting to get it in a way, like everything that he was just striving for basically his entire life, trying to find a spot to fit in, and he kind of figured out how he actually does fit in. But now he's like, so like there's that half of him, but then the other half is like just trying to unpack like the mysteries about what's actually going on here. Like, why all the dragons? Why Orcus?
Seems like a mullet. He's kind of business in the front, but party in the back.
Oh yeah,
Right now.
a thought mullet.
How about Domingo?
He's definitely okay. He's staring off at the sea, but he's definitely paying attention to the conversation. You can tell his ears are kind of twitching when she mentions his name. But you can tell he's emotional. He's breathing heavy. He's very silent. And this is the longest he's stood his ground without running while somebody not from the party has been monologuing. So that should say something.
I don't think I even put that together. That's cool.
No, he's kind of reconciling his thoughts a little bit. Kind of comparing the initial reason why he came to this island, and figuring out where to go forward from here. More on like a personal level, less worried about the mystery of the whole what's happening at the island. He's wondering what he needs to do about it personally, if that makes sense.
Sure. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. It's going through some things.
I'm just gonna go to Zugarf next. As a fan of Zugarf, I imagine he's like, what are we talking about right here now? I imagine he's pretty stoic. I feel like it's his usual reaction, but that's just me wondering about Zugarv.
No, he is pretty stoic. Just kind of, not really giving away anything. But he is thinking, he's listening. Definitely paying attention to what's been said. Interested to hear about or learn more about the darkness and potential power at that island, and kind of thinking about what she directed at him too, and the use of power, or the not the abstinence of use of power.
Mm-hmm.
With what you've seen with the different powers on this island and the effect that it's had on dragons in the past, is there anything that you can tell to help us deal with the wormling if things don't go well?
I'm not sure. Okay.
Well,
You mean-
because
Go ahead.
basically, I mean, I'm assuming that she thinks the wormling's getting corrupted by that power somehow. And whether it's either stopping the wormling or subduing him somehow, is there anything that she can,
Okay.
because I'm sure she's seen other dragons be affected by some of the powers on the island. Because, she's mentioned there's been a lot of stuff, and it seems like she's been here a long time.
She has, yeah. And she's certainly old enough. I mean, just general knowledge, I think, would tell you that, dragons, the bigger they are, the older they are. Pretty big, so.
Not to talk about a lady's size, but
Get those piercing green eyes, though, Yeah, so her dragon brow furrows again. And she says, with power comes temptation. I just looked up and saw Tempest there. I feel like Adron, at his core, is good. But when faced with the power to do what you think is right, sometimes shakes her head a little bit, as if she trailed off in thought. Sometimes that can be too great for one so young. She kind of looks back at you. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure of the specifics.
well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like we're going into danger, and any information to help mitigate that.
Well, Adron is like me. And then she just looks up at the sky, and it's clear as day, and it's an open roof in the temple, and she just goes and just exhales this giant just streak of lightning comes right out of her mouth, and the smell of ozone is just, it cracks just loud thunder and lightning, but the smell of ozone is thick as Tempest is in your face. And so she just says, if you need to subdue him, I would not suggest using lightning.
that is useful.
She kind of looks at Hjulbrek there and just says, "You might be able to handle that a little better than the others. Just a hunch."
Ideally, we won't need to.
Agreed.
So you anticipate us finding him at the observatory?
It's where he went, but I have not heard from him in days.
What dragon perished by the observatory?
That's where I fought the blue dragon.
Not to detract from this, but do you have a way of dispelling this, or perhaps know where Brostos or his final resting place is? We do have to still try and alleviate the undead plague that afflicts your isle.
Yes, actually. Brostos' grave is in the graveyard atop the cliffs on the northern point of the island. Not too far from here. I remember him. Kind of nods sadly. He was kind.
It doesn't concern you at all that he and his wife, lover, whomever, made a talisman to Orcus?
Of course that's concerning. He was still kind. I do think it's wise to destroy the talisman.
Can I just destroy it?
Did you ask if you can just do it?
Like, is that a thing? Like, I feel like it needs to be, like, dispelled or needs some... Can I just light it on fire?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Nice.
Hold it up, and then Fontaine will put his gun next to your head and shoot it.
Thunder damage, too. Make it even louder.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do a little testy poo, and I'll do produce flame, and I'll see if like it singes at all, or if the magic's kind of protecting it.
Yeah, so what does that look like? You just like put flame, like a little
tiny
ball of-
fireball.
bolt of flame, kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
And then you just like put the hair kind of like,
yeah, just trying to see if it kind of catches or if the hair like singes and.
yeah, you feel like you start to smell a little burning hair, as the little edges kind of. You could tell if you were to like deep dive it, it would go.
What do you guys think? Should we just try and light this thing on fire and hope it all goes away?
I mean, I think if it gets destroyed, if it actually does get destroyed, I think it'll go away.
Yeah, I'm
Either
by
that
no
or-
means an expert on these kinds of talismans or anything.
The way I see it, we have two options. You could either burn it and see if it works, or put it on and see what happens.
Right into my hair.
Clearly, Joe.
I mean, if you think that'll help.
Science?
All right, I guess we'll try and burn it.
Okay. It's a little. It's interesting. It's interesting. So you do the flame thing again, similar thing, but you're like, all right, we're doing it this time.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of like, I mean, if I need to actually like make a fire, I'll use produce flame in order to light it, in order to.
Either way, we can have fun with that, however you want to envision it.
Yeah.
As it light, like there's fire, like the fire catches and it kind of really starts to take over. The temple starts to get windy, like not like crazy windy, but like there's just, well, gushes of wind come in, and you kind of just for a moment, because it was going to get in your eyes, you just turn and look, and you see fog roll in over and just seems to rest on the compass rose, which you have a view of from the temple window. And the fire progresses up the braids of hair. It gets to the bones. The hair is gone, and it looks like it's just staying there for a moment, and then it just kind of like poofs into ash. And on the wind, you kind of swear you hear like a sigh in the wind, like it just like a relief of some kind.
The hell was that?
I think Fontaine farted.
He broke the wind.
Is the fog still over by the compass rose?
It is.
Do we feel like that worked?
I mean, it's literally just ashes now.
Yeah. Well,
I suppose we'll find out next time there's a shipwreck.
yeah. I mean,
Something
Maybe
tells
that
me
worked.
we wouldn't be able to destroy it if it. I don't know a lot about these things, but
me either.
if the power was in the talisman and we destroyed it, then I would assume it's gone.
We do the
I
same
don't
with
know,
these
I'm-
boots.
That's right. I forgot you guys got a set of boots there.
Yeah. But I've got no way of identifying them.
Boots of dashing good looks.
They're made for walking. Womp womp. Go ahead.
Can I just say to the and forgive me if this has been said because Indy was kind of right there.
I actually don't think you missed much. It was
Okay.
very
Well, even
processy.
before that-
Yeah.
before that he was kind of, but well, I guess has anyone asked about this draw and power that's on the island and if there's any way to get rid of it before I
think
waste everyone's
specifically,
time
no.
RPing? Okay, all right. All right, I didn't think so, but I was distracted.
I think Fontaine's
Zugar-
was more practical in his approach.
So Zugarf will kind of, after just like thinking for a little bit and obviously burning the thing, he'll look back to the dragon and he will just say, Is there any way, do you know of anything we could try to remove this power and this draw to the island? Because you can hope for peace as much as you want. You can live in peace as often as you can, but if this draw still exists, violence will find you. Just as it has just now.
That is something I am still trying to consider and learn.
Well,
I fear my presence stirs things up sometimes, and I don't want to go to the observatory to learn, but I hope perhaps you will find some answers to that when you go there.
I will admit I don't know much about magic or dragon magic, anything of the sort, but I will look, and I'm sure everyone here will do our best to see if we can solve your problem and allow you to live in peace.
All right, so anyone else have any other questions or want to say or do anything in this scene?
I'm good.
Josh making the mean mugging face. Okay. So I would say it's about sunset, and I will say there's a smell. The smell of dinner is starting to cooking is coming through, wafting into the temple.
What's for dinner?
Oh, that's a good question.
What's the catch of the day?
The first catch of the day. Rebel scum. No. Which is actually a fish that I'm now permanently placing in the world of the Forgotten Realms.
It's a trap!
Yep, that's how they caught them, was with traps. But yeah, it's like a nice a smoked whitefish kind of a thing going on.
Smoked side, a smoked rebel scum with a side of many bothans.
There you go. Yeah, many bothans. I love that.
Sword Coast delicacy.
Yep. So I'll leave this up to you guys if you'd like to do some RPing or questions or anything like that. If it's interesting to you, Varnoth kind of was around trying to give privacy, but also seemed like she was just curious for that interaction. But if you want to fast forward to like a long rest or whatever, it's up to you guys. Discuss.
I'm good to just press on.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that Fontaine would want to talk about currently.
Okay.
For just Josh's knowledge, did you say the name of your friend?
No. Mm-mm. I don't think I ever did.
So I think I would have written it down.
Oh, Fontaine's friend? No.
I didn't have it written down either, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're thinking. Because I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? All right, I think Zugarf would come out and say it.
Is this going to be still in this scene, or is this like a thing with just you guys? Because you can have this conversation however you wish.
This would
Like
be
within earshot of the
just
dragon.
us
We can
guys.
have this over our 5 bottles of wine and 1 broken one.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yes.
Courtesy of Ingvald.
We'll drink his first.
What did Ingvald subclass into?
Commoner second class.
Commoner second.
He literally is the commoner stat.
Yeah.
Did he get an ability score increase at least, or no?
Yeah, he has 11s and everything instead of 10s.
Nice. Oh wow, he got to level up. Okay, that's pretty significant level up, honestly.
Yeah.
Except for the fact it still doesn't add
means nothing.
anything.
It still doesn't add anything, but he got to add 6 to his attributes. That's
It's
not
nutty.
bad.
Sure, it's canon. It's
It's a
canon.
yoke.
You got to add 6, but I still didn't get better at anything.
I know mechanically it didn't do anything, but think about
You're right. You're right.
the
Think about
progression for a person.
Progression
to-
in like 3 days.
Really come out of his shell.
Gains, bro. Gains.
Is this how all adventurers are made? Is this the process? We all start off as 10s, and then all of a sudden we just get like thrust into something like Ingvald, and then all of a sudden we just go. Now I have an 18 strength because of mace.
Yeah, I think that
I
works.
swung it around for 4 days and hit some goblins, and now I'm
Looking a little extra swole today. A little puffy.
It's the water weight.
Yeah.
Had a good pump.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess maybe you're in one of your rooms or something like that. Is that what you're having your drink, or maybe you're sitting on the beach looking at the water?
Sure.
Whatever you like.
So yeah, I mean, Zugarf would say to Fontaine, and I'm assuming everyone's here for this, but Zugarf would say to Fontaine, Fontaine, when we first met, you mentioned you had a friend who went to the observatory. I don't think you ever said his name.
I did not.
Is your friend?
The dragon? No.
Are you sure?
I
We
mean,
just
unless
found.
they're
others.
known by a different name. My friend's name is Callium, or was Callium, but I don't think so. I don't know if he was. I don't know why he would have encouraged me to come here. I don't know. Or why I would have heard that he died?
How did you hear he died again?
I don't know, GM. How did I hear he
This is a colleague of yours, right? A schoolmate?
Yes.
We'll just say it was like a heard it through the grapevine thing, like you were meeting up with some other schoolmates of yours, and they're like, "Did you hear about Callium?" And it was, yeah, not really sure what happened, but that kind of a thing.
It was as I was preparing to come here. I mean, you know, taking this kind of a travel is not something that you just do on a whim. You kind of got to make some preparations. I just happened to overhear from a few classmates that he had passed away. And it was kind of, they didn't really know what happened, but it seemed fishy.
Well, Fontaine, I am sorry for your loss.
Did you ever speak with him about what he may have been researching?
No, I mean, he just sent me a letter just telling me that that the knowledge that I was looking for, he thought it may have been at this observatory, but he didn't go into detail as to why what brought him here or the details of it.
And you're pretty, not to be insensitive on the subject here, but you're pretty confident that he wasn't a dragon? I mean, let me put it this way.
He never turned into a dragon in front of me, so on that side of it, I can say that I mean,
You guys are really messing with Fontaine's head right now.
It's entirely possible.
It makes me got no idea. Put it that way.
it could have been. I mean, it definitely could be possible, but
does he speak in riddles at all?
I feel like Runara would have mentioned that if I knew.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Adrian personally. I mean, and now granted, just because she's a dragon doesn't mean she's all-knowing, but something tells me that she knows a good amount, and I feel like she would have said something.
She has also been known to leave out details from here and there, for seemingly no reason.
My point, man, dragons, they speak in riddles.
The reward is in the work.
Did your friend ever hoard gold and silver or anything like that?
Bottles of wine, maybe.
Did you ever use the word burninate?
Burninator.
I mean, that was actually one of his favorite spells. But
so I had a little spell.
Well, how would you describe his body type? Consummate, because I said consummate.
I may just go crazy with that fire magic, though.
I'm not sure someone's ever made me uncomfortable before, but for some reason I'm feeling uncomfortable right now.
Ingvald, knock it off.
What'd I do? He just gets another bottle of wine.
The man's in space.
Changing the subject a little bit. Fontaine, he wrote you saying that the knowledge that you were looking for might be found at the observatory. Is this does this make sense with the magic that's going on here, knowing that this is the final resting place of a pretty powerful blue dragon? Does this seem to line up with the research that you were going for?
That's a question that's hard to answer because I don't think anyone has ever done what I'm going for, so I don't know if it's possible.
What are you going for? If it's not too...
To become a wizard.
You're not already a wizard? Fontaine just... Ingvald just goes, you're not already a wizard?
No, I can't cast magic myself.
Yeah, why don't you rub it in his face?
No, Ingvald he's looking at the three of you really confused right now.
Zugark takes the wine from Ingvald.
I think he's cut off.
But you cast magic. Am I?
And
it is magic.
It.
I don't cast magic. I pull magic out of things.
I don't know how it works.
Wizards have magic, and I don't.
He's very, what's the word? Scientologically gifted.
He's a Scientologist.
Sure.
All right, so if you're a Scientologist, you're a Scientologist. I don't know. You do magic things. I don't know any magic.
Fontaine looks at Ingvald for a moment, and you can actually see some like real like almost like soul searching in Fontaine, and you know you are onto something, and I do think that's partially what Runara was.
Do not underestimate what you already know.
Okay, take his drink away.
He gets another bottle. He just smiles. He's got like the red wine teeth.
Oh no.
He's about to drink that constitution away.
Yeah.
Back down to a 10.
He's got the 11. He can handle it. That's what the 11 means he can drink 11 bottles of wine.
That's exactly what that means, yes.
Well, it sounds as if the trail of all our questions leads to the observatory. And now we have a key.
That we do.
And these boots.
I think it's fair enough to say you have a short rest if you'd like to have figured out what these things are.
Yeah.
Boots of elven kind, my friends.
Nice.
Oh, but none of us are elvish.
Doesn't
That's what
look
the boots
elvish.
do.
Thank
They
you
make
very
you
much.
elvish. They give you pointy ears.
I want to make
Useless.
a druid that looks nothing like what most people think druids look like, just so I can do the space balls. He doesn't look druish.
He doesn't look.
Look, I just want to do that one
Just
day.
for that.
Like a real goth looking druid or something. Like you just would not like. It's just there's
Yeah.
juxtaposition everywhere. All right.
No color.
Yeah.
Suppose we have one of two options with these. We can either give them to Domingo, where he will be the quietest by a far greater margin than he already is, or we give them to our loudest, who then will no longer be the loudest.
When you say loudest, Fontaine turns and looks at Ingvald.
What? he's like
Ka-thunk.
no, he's still on that one, but he's just like
I think Hjulbrek was looking over at Fontaine's gun.
Just like,
yeah. It's anything that you're doing on like trying to move quietly, or your steps make no sound, so you'd have advantage
It's an advantage on stealth.
advantage on stealth,
for
yeah.
that kind of
For that check, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good without him as it is. I've gotten used to not wearing. I like my feet being free, you know.
Walking on the toe beans,
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to
thumbs.
balancing things out, so to speak.
Is anyone in the party really all that?
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody's
Hjulbrek
wearing
would be
like heavy armor, right?
my guess. I don't.
I'm a +2.
Oh,
Everybody's wearing light armor or no
Yeah.
armor.
Yeah, nobody's
like,
got
I'm not-
heavy.
I'm not in heavy. I just have
I'm-
leather.
I'm also +2.
But I mean, I've got +8 stealth, so at some point, diminishing returns.
If it
Level
matters, no attunement. I don't think so.
Or the multitude of magic items we're about to get that
Didn't
require attunement.
You having flashbacks to Dragon of Icefire Peak?
Yeah, we did that, right? We would like pass them back and forth.
Yeah, you're like, maybe can I wear one and he wears the other? I was like, no, it doesn't
funny,
work
I
that
was-
way.
Just watching
Yeah,
that
that's
actually,
that.
so that's funny.
You just like unlocked a memory. Yeah, I forgot we did that until you said, well, they don't need attunement. It's like, Fontaine, but I mean, just Michael, what's your stealth like?
It's a +2.
Plus
Alright,
two.
so-
I think
so
we
roll
all
plus
have +2, so it's
I guess it
Or
goes to
always.
me, Ingvald.
I feel like it doesn't make as much sense for Fontaine though, just because he's more of a ranged person and like in general, I feel like he's not going to be up front leading the group. So I would think
Olaf? Roll off?
if you want it, you can take it.
Let's have a roll off.
All right, let's have a roll up.
to roll up to you doesn't get it. No.
The winner decides.
You got a 2?
Yeah.
I got a 3.
Yes!
On a
There you
D20?
go.
Oh man, what are the odds of that? We could add our decks.
It's the same. It's
I know.
gonna be +2.
That's why I said.
Oh, it's one of those episodes. Okay.
All right.
Alright, so you've got the boots of elven kind.
Ooh, nice.
They're wondrous.
Are you sure you don't want them though? Like,
Yeah, it's fine.
okay.
For some reason, because Zugarf is not wearing armor, I just imagine. This is so stupid. I'm
I know
imagining
what you're gonna say.
the naked cowboy from New York City. The cowboy boots of elven kind. It's like you're wearing briefs. You got your great sword, a
A
cowboy hat,
loincloth.
Yeah, it's like galoshes.
but like they're cowboy boots of elven kind. Like it's just like, what is this? Is that what you thought? Is that where you went, Josh? You went there too? That'd be incredible.
No,
No.
not exactly. Close, but not exactly. I wasn't thinking specifically the
The naked cowboy.
the naked cowboy, but like the visual. The naked cowboy is a very good
All right.
example. So
There you go. Ingvald has fallen asleep.
how deep are we getting into this wine?
How deep do you want to get into the wine?
I mean, Zugarf. Some of you probably noticed this, and some of you don't. But anytime it's an option, he's drinking it. You know, at any time we've had meals or alcohol. So
I think Ingvald's had a whole bottle himself.
I mean, realistically, I wouldn't have really drank that much.
I'll say Zugarf drank the whole bottle that he took from me.
There you go.
I probably would have had like 2 glasses, so that'd be half a bottle of Kiko.
Fontaine probably would have finished the other half of that bottle. Like he wasn't drinking heavily. Kind of has a lot on his mind.
Yeah, Domingo as well. He's kind of nursing his, whereas you typically see him drink out of his flask quite a bit.
Zugarf.
Hjulbrek.
Are you okay?
What a question.
It's that kind of party.
Didn't think I would like Hjulbrek more than I already did, and here I am.
You see like he's kind of like taken aback, and he'll just look at you and just say, of course, we take it day by day, and you've survived thus far.
It's an awfully big difference between surviving, living.
suppose that's true.
I don't want to push you, but I hope you get to live one day.
I've lived a whole life. I'm sure you're wondering what the lady, the dragon, our friend, meant when she said what she said to me about power and the use of it.
Oh, coming from her, that could have been anything.
Zugarf is also a dragon.
I'm
could you
Fontaine's
imagine?
friend.
It all comes full
That's their real voice. This isn't even my final form.
I'm a getcha.
Part of my history with Arnold. We fought together. I fought in her mercenary band. Well, some things happened. She referred to me as a dark shadow. Just going over and taking what I can from everything and having an endless hunger for death, for life. The reason I came to this island is because I saw a vision. A dream of a shadow creeping across the sea like a shroud, swallowing an island in darkness. I heard a call telling me to stand against death's endless hunger. So unless there's something I'm missing, I think I came to this island to die.
Or that death was the work of Orcus, the Dark Shadow being the Demon Prince himself, swallowing this island with his lust for undead. And I'd say we took care of that. Perhaps that was the meaning behind your vision. Perhaps part of you died when we burned that effigy. And now this Zugarf can live on, can continue. We all have a past. We all have a history. The beauty of that history is that we get to learn from it. You don't start with the answers. Sometimes we react, we make rash choices, we rush to conclusions. We all are flawed. We all make mistakes. What separates us from those that we stand against is that we learn from ours. And we try and be better because of our mistakes.
Not to mention, it helps that we as a party are able to hold each other accountable.
Exactly. I haven't known any of you before we came here. And it's very possible in our past, none of us would have ever gotten along. However, the present versions of us seem to get along pretty well. Seem to all be here doing the right thing, as far as I can tell. Following a noble purpose. Doing our best to rid the world of evils. Standing against the shadow so that those like Ingvald can pass out drunk on a beach. All of our choices led to us being in this very unique and extraordinary situation. And I think that there's no other group that I would rather be here with. Figuring all this out together. So regardless of whatever poor choices we've made, regardless of whatever regrets that we have, we're here. And we have the opportunity to redeem ourselves of those choices and those decisions.
That's exactly why I never use all of my power. Because it wasn't a choice. I would go into battle and I would lose control. I would go in and be an unstoppable killing machine. Shouldn't say that I would lose control, because I didn't always lose control, but there was a time when I couldn't distinguish friend from foe. And it was because I was using the full extent of my power. And Varnoth is scarred because of it, and others got worse.
Living in fear can be dangerous. And if you'd like to learn how to control that, I'll be there with you to help you.
I appreciate that. I control myself by not letting myself get to that point. But I'm grateful to know that I have the three of you. 4 if you count that one.
The kid means well. He's, in a way, kind of like all of us. Just, he's a good kid.
It is.
I mean, you're right though. You hit the nail on the head. He's the reason we're doing this. It's a better future for them. You know, he's the glue holding us together. The constant reminder that we gotta keep pushing.
I think I've clearly stated why I'm here, but I understand what you're saying.
The concept of the abstract is like almost always lost on Fontaine.
I love him so much.
Yep.
I appreciate all of you. And I guess first thing in the morning we'll head off to the observatory.
It's time to
Good
bring
night.
an end to this.
I'll just say good night, my friend. And I'll kind of go and smack Ingvald awake, and
Huh?
we'll go to
Huh?
bed.
Yeah, okay. I might sleep here.
You don't want that. You don't want that, Ingvald. You don't want to wake up drunk on a beach. Hungover.
Sunburned.
You need an Ingvald-sized baby Bjorn. Bring him up.
I light a fire under his ass.
Ooh, okay.
Produce flame.
You guys going to bed? All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that first big lie that DMs tell themselves?
The first one is that nobody would be interested in a game that I DM. First off, if you're playing in a group and one person usually is the DM, I can guarantee you that person is interested in a game that you DM. That can pretty much, I mean, that's like hands down a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And if you're with people and you have friends that are like, I don't want to be in a game that you're the dungeon master of.
Maybe they're not your friends.
Yeah, probably.
Not good ones, at least. I feel like that is a big thing, though. That's probably one of the biggest barriers to DMing in general, is people just can't get over that, like, I'm not interesting enough. My games aren't going to be interesting enough. People aren't going to want to play it. But if you have a group of friends that have never played the game before and everybody wants to, even if you actually are the worst, even if all your anxieties
Right?
are somehow true, they're still going to want to do it because you're going to be the DM and they're going to get to be players and try this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. That's just how it is. If you think that maybe your story isn't interesting enough, it probably is. I would just try it. But if that's the thing, then don't even let that stop you. Get a pre-written adventure, get the starter set, and try that out. See how it goes, and then build up your confidence that way.
That's a fantastic tip, Josh. That could cut down on a lot of prep time, and at the very least, you know that like people that know what they're doing did put this together.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
So, as you are sleeping, while you were sleeping, the movie with Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman, 1993 or 95 classic, something like that. Anyways, Zugarf. As you're dreaming, once again, you find yourself on the deck of the ship that brought you here, and you see Stormwreck Isle shrouded in darkness, just as it was in your earlier dreams. As you sail closer, the darkness breaks, and a dazzling ray of sunlight shines down over the island. A gentle plume of white smoke rises up from the island as the darkness is driven away. Then the darkness and the smoke are gone. And the light swells to enfold you as well. And you feel a sense of warmth, love, acceptance, and approval. You're not entirely sure why, or like, and what I mean by that is like, it just feels like it's not coming from you. Like something else is producing these feelings inside you in this dream.
Do I feel like finality too?
Finality?
Finality? Is that a word? Do I feel like?
Yeah, it is.
I believe it is. If it's not, it is now. No.
Okay.
If anything, you feel a beginning.
Hjulbrek was right.
Now Zugarf is a paladin.
I didn't subclass. What I did was multi-class. Oh.
Why was that like?
I don't know, but it's where I went. I don't know why I am the way that I am.
That's funny.
I don't know either, but I love it.
It's like, we all think you're crazy, but it works for you. Yeah, so that happened. And
And that's a now thing, or that's like a to come.
Explain.
Like, never mind.
Okay. So you have finished your long rest. We'll say probably, I feel like in a place like this, when the sun rises, that's typically when the activity starts. Hjulbrek, you can definitely tell that Ingvald should have been drinking some more water. Hjulbrek, do you have anything for hangovers?
I do. But it's a second level spell.
That's not happening.
And that ain't worth it, bub.
Give him some raw eggs, he'll be fine.
Make him a red eye.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You know, a Bloody Mary with some Clamato juice. I think it's called the Bloody Caesar. If they do that.
So yeah, you are now all officially level 3. After which, so you have those level 2 spell slots. Primary casters are like, I can finally breathe now.
Yeah, it's
Your
a
spell
big
slots
level.
double.
Yeah. It's a huge amount.
3 to 6.
Mhm.
2 of them are second level.
Yep.
So now I can start upcasting. I can.
A lot more. So what is your plan to go to the observatory? Are we going to go by boat? We're going by land?
Let's take the giant eagles.
We're going by air, Steve.
Take the eagle.
And they just take the eagles to Mordor.
Let's make Runara fly us there. She seems super keen on going back.
She's definitely this game's Falcor. She's a luck dragon.
Understood that reference.
Is Appa around?
Appa, yep.
Yep.
I mean, real quick before we head off, they said that the cemetery wasn't terribly far.
Yeah, maybe a 20-25 minute walk.
Okay. In the morning, Hjulbrek would want to just kind of like go there quick, find what's his name's grave.
Brazos from Only Murders.
Brazos.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of say a quick prayer there, and just say I hope you're reunited with your love and you're both at peace.
Yeah. It's a beautiful scene, actually. They actually describe it, and I'm gonna go find the description because it's really cool.
They even have Hjulbrek in the module.
Did you bring Ingvald? Did he tag along? Is he throwing up on the grave right now?
Ingvald definitely did not go.
Yeah, I feel like he's throwing up his guts.
She drinking a bottle of wine after working all day.
Yeah.
That's been in a boat for who knows how long.
But the graves on this little clifftop cemetery are covered in white wildflowers, and they're marked with simple wooden slabs. So it's a nice, simple, but very beautiful site. And it's interesting as you look at the grave, and you kind of just you say your prayer. You pick your head up for a second. You just kind of take a breath. You just feel like just the wind rush through your hair, which I imagine as an air genasi, that's just I don't know if it'd be like an extra sensitivity to it, but there's probably something about that. This is just, I would think if I was playing an air genasi, I might have this very grounding, unintended feel to it. But you just kind of move your head a little bit with the wind, and you just kind of look off to where the compass rose was, because you see the fog blown away, and the ship isn't there anymore.
I'm just kind of nod appreciatively that, and respectfully just head back to everybody else.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I can pull up the map here, and you can see the observatory is in the southeast side of the island. Dragon's Rest is in the northern area. So you could go by boat, which would take the longest. You could go by coast, which would be the easiest. Or you could try and traverse through the rocky plains, which would probably be the fastest, but also
It's like
more
a valley.
difficult. Yeah. I mean, the adventure describes it as would be just like difficult terrain. So it would be more annoying, but it is the most direct route.
Gotcha. As the crow flies.
I say 30th by most direct route. Go through Gerudo Valley.
That was the best soundtrack in that entire song.
I totally agree.
Love it so much.
Josh is like, Jake knows nothing.
I was thinking, I don't think he knows that.
You've never played Ocarina of Time?
Oh, I've played it. I like to refer to, we're just going to do this. I like to refer to N64 as the awkward time for video games where, I don't know, you're some kind of in between Like, when you're like in the 8th grade.
Oh, all right, okay.
You're just like, there's something off here.
I was
Wait,
like,
but
you
that-
mean when you're 5?
I disagree. This is gonna take too much time.
Let us
but-
know in the comment
Yeah.
section your thoughts.
I mean, the N64, like, I think
Well, you guys are all
really
younger
kicked
than me.
off
You guys are all younger than me.
video
Yes,
games.
but it was the
That's-
first part.
That does play a factor.
It
Super
holds
Nintendo
up.
was my.
I still play my N64.
The N64 holds up because it holds up for the same reason that Wind Waker holds up, and it's because they weren't trying to be super realistic, and if they were missing the mark so unbelievably far that it's its own style and it's its own kind of like art style to it. Now, like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, that's a different story, different conversation, unless you're talking about maybe like Crash Bandicoot.
And Spyro.
Yeah, and Spyro.
There we go. Let us know your favorites in the comments section.
Bring back platformers.
Hollow Knight. Anyways,
Oh yeah, play Hollow
so
Knight.
you guys, what are we doing here? We going by boat? We going by the direct route? Going with the coast. I hear wizards hang out along the coast.
Yeah.
How we feel about
Trying to
that?
become a wizard, not meet them.
My sword also hangs out on the coast. Jeez,
On the coast.
holy
Oh
moly.
man, interesting. I must have forgotten that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's one of
Coast.
those realms that you kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Prague. Let's take the coast. I don't know.
I actually
rolled a
want to
die.
say I want to say take the land.
The more direct route.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm good with that. I was going to suggest boats to make sure that the compass rose site was like kosher, but now that it's gone, it's not really a concern anymore.
Now that it's gone, all that's left are the bones of gold.
I mean-
okay.
I would just rather, if we were to get attacked, I'm thinking, would I rather be on a boat or would I rather be on land? And I feel like the answer there is land. Are we gonna get attacked there? Probably not, but gotta go inside first.
And Ingvald's too hungover to come with us, so we're not going to have anyone to watch the boat.
Exactly. Or row the boat.
Yeah, row the boat,
Fontaine's
yeah,
not
we're
rowing
We'll take a
it.
level of exhaustion as soon as we get there.
Ingvald does think he's gonna sit this one out.
Wise choice.
We demand you join us.
No. He grows a backbone.
Okay, you could fight the dragon with us, and Hjulbrek will just lose one of his second level slots to make you. Because we need the help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an even trade.
Come on, you're the bait.
I can either cast Scorching Rays or Spiritual Weapon, or we can have
A commoner hanging around.
Ingvald.
Yeah.
A commoner with 11s instead of 10s.
It's like
Scores.
Spiritual Weapon is legitimately more effective than he is.
Without a doubt. All right,
So
so
we're-
you're on land. Are you taking the direct route or the coastal route?
Direct.
Okay.
it's just that it's going to be annoying. It's not that we're going to, like,
Yeah, it's really flavor.
okay,
It's
take
faster.
the direct route.
Yep. Okay. So
Just
yeah,
where the
I mean,
Tarrasque happens to live, that's all.
the Tarrasque clip. Yep. Good luck, guys. Got him. It takes. It is an obnoxious route. Like it's one of those things where you're like, there's probably a moment or two where you're like, it probably would have been nicer to go the scenic route, but ultimately you do get through it. It takes a little over an hour. It's not too bad. However, as you're starting to kind of get like a view of the observatory in the distance a little bit, you can tell that like obviously it's seen better days. Like it looks like I know Nooch and Josh, I'm sure you've seen the Montauk Lighthouse, where like it's visible from far away, but like the closer you get to it, unlike the Montauk Lighthouse, you could just tell like there's just like this creepy air about it. Like you could tell like some of the buildings look like they've it's not fully intact anymore. Like probably not hard to use your imagination and imagine a couple of dragons fighting on this thing, and that's where some of the damage came from. Like it's seen better days for sure, but yet it does still stand. So, clambering over the rocky ground of Stormwreck Isle, you spot strange twisted protrusions of glassy crystal jutting from the earth. The vegetation in this area bears reddish branching scars that form similar shapes. You kind of stop at a clearing is probably too strong of a word, but just a spot where like you all have an ability to stand and you just kind of point out to it. Probably a good 300-400 feet away still at this point. And you hear a screeching roar coming from overhead. And instinctively, you're probably like, what in the world is this? And you look up and you notice a winged, glittering blue shape swooping overhead. Probably 300 feet in the air, just flying over the top of you. Comes up to the observatory, does kind of like a loop. It seems to be headed back to come your way. And just at the moment you feel like you need to do something, it circles around it again. And then seems to land on what you would, from what you can tell, looks like the tallest of the four structures you see.
You said blue.
I said blue.
Well, this just got exciting.
How sure are we that Lady Runara knows her colors? She's quite old. She might be colorblind.
We've already got one necromantic event taking place on this island. Who's to say the same affliction didn't awaken Blue Dragon she fought?
I feel like all the necromantic things that we've seen have all either happened after they recently died and not years and years after. And from the way this sounds, it sounded like this blue dragon wasn't something recent at all. I would almost see maybe it's more likely that either the power either turned Agent Blue, if that's even a possibility, or she also mentioned that this place just seemed to kind of cause dragons to gravitate here, and it may be a completely another dragon.
That a new blue wormling, maybe training under the previous one, came here seeking the same information.
I mean,
Was it bigger or smaller than Runara?
Let's make a retroactive perception check.
Cool. I retroactively rolled a 17 plus several hundred. Plus 5, so 22.
It is far away. But you're a pretty smart guy, and I think if you had to guess, you would say probably smaller.
Okay.
Like, I'm probably not positive about it, but you feel pretty good to say it. It was smaller.
Seems smaller than Runara, so likely younger.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure she's ancient, so that might not be saying much.
I think she's... Well... Well... So there's 4 spires in front of us.
So yeah, so it's a little interesting. I'll say you're a good, what I say, 300-400 feet away from it or so, and you can tell that they're actually on like little, like tiny little islands. Islets? Is that? I'm not sure if is that a word I read earlier? I don't know. They're small. They're not connected to the main thing.
Okay.
But they can't be that far either. But it still is a ways off, so some of the details are a little hazy.
Gotcha. So it like flew over, did a couple loops, and then landed on one of these little islands.
It seemed, yeah, so that you could definitely tell that one of them is a little taller than the other 3. They're varying sizes. 2 of them a little smaller, one kind of maybe wider. So, but then the one in the back is the tallest one, and it seemed to like land on it or whatever. It just seems to disappear. You're not sure exactly where it went, but that one was involved.
Gotcha. Should we continue to the observatory? Keep an eye towards that horizon? Or do we want to investigate these crystals and fractures that are here?
They're close by, so if you were interested, it's not a big thing.
I mean, I would probably only be as interested in seeing if they were like the one that we experienced with the Myconids.
I would say make a nature check.
I would like to assist with that too, because I was kind of thinking along the same lines.
I think all of you can. It's fine.
Which one am I taking?
Unless you're not interested.
Fontaine's not paying attention to the crystals at all. He wants to get to the to the observatory. Like
I've been waiting this whole campaign to get in there.
Josh, are you helping?
maybe you
me, or
guys
are
think
rolling?
Callium is a dragon, but I don't.
I think we were all
I
making.
want to
our
know
own.
what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, Jake, should I help him or roll my own?
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't
So
matter.
both.
What do you
You can
want?
structure that
Nooch?
however you want.
Hold on.
Nooch,
I rolled a second one, and it's
Okay.
better.
There you go.
You want to use that?
Hey, you roll.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you roll.
You don't want to use what you rolled?
Oh
You
god.
roll.
I already rolled mine.
Let me out of my
What'd you got?
misery.
It's a natural 20.
Yeah, use yours. 100%. It's better than my 15. I'll stick here with my 5.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 20 on mine.
So I haven't rolled anything yet, but Domingo was kind of wondering more so along the lines of like he's not learned about dragons at all, but more so like about its movement, if it seems sluggish at all, and maybe suggesting that it was kind of a zombie dragon or something that was necromantically brought back?
Yeah, so I guess you're...
Just like, did it seem like it was flying naturally, or was it more like, you know?
Well, I'm not sure you've ever seen a dragon fly
Yeah,
before.
that's what I mean. Yeah, taking that
but-
into account.
I mean, it was glittering. It wasn't. It didn't have like any dullness to it. But I don't.
Okay.
You know. And you just from. I believe that battle took place over 100 years ago. So, just rates of decay.
Yeah.
You know, I will say this. If you're to comparatively, like Runara's scales, like you could definitely tell the deep bronze color, but it was not nearly as vibrant, even though you'd think metallic would probably have a shinier finish. Just
Oxidized.
use that however you
Yeah, it
wish.
could be one of those things that just wears off over time or something.
Do
Zuko-
copper dragons turn green if they live by the sea?
well, she's a bronze dragon, which I guess I think,
Oxidizes.
yeah, it is part of their aging process, I believe, because they're shinier when they come out of the egg. I was
It's
gonna
the
say
tarnish.
womb, but it's the egg. But all dragons get duller as they age, and they're,
And you polish them.
yes, but I wouldn't recommend it.
It would probably feel pretty good. Probably feel
Zugar,
like
your natural 20 on this nature check. You recognize this phenomenon as this is a sign of lightning strikes. So this could be easily, whether it was natural or unless Runara was hanging out in this place that she was not saying she goes to and shooting the ground with lightning, maybe there's another lightning that came around and hit the ground. So
I would just relay that to the group. Just let them know.
Yeah.
Lightning struck here. And I don't know where anyone else is at, but I'm down to start moving forward and continuing on.
okay. What kind of a marching order do we have here for this?
First of all, I would like to say that we're not in a line.
Okay. You did see Runara's lightning was pretty straightforward. We'll just say it that way.
I'll walk towards the front. I'll be the tip of the spear. I may be able to resist it.
Where's everyone in relation to Hjulbrek?
I'll walk like kind of near him, not directly behind him, but maybe like off to the right or to the left.
Like a little bit of a wide flank.
Sure.
Fanning out a
If
bit.
it's possible to. I mean, Domingo, are we trying to be stealthy or are we just trudging along?
I think we're just. I don't think we're kind of out in the open and it's daytime, right? So,
True.
yeah, I guess I would be behind Hjulbrek as well, maybe to the opposite side of Zugarf. Same distance
Diamond
away.
formation.
Diamond formation, yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah.
More or less.
All right.
And maybe our ranged companion can take the rear.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what I was. Fontaine was planning on doing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, a broken and overgrown path winds to the edge of the cliff. The overlook is marked by 2 marble statues veined with gold, and each is carved in the shape of a dragon with its mouth open in a silent roar. I would say at this point, the wider building is a good 30-ish feet or so in front of you, separated by water, and you can tell that this cliff, you have a good 30 feet or so from where you're standing to where the water is. There's two smaller buildings off to the side of it, a little bit in front, and one of them has like it looks like a pretty rickety rope bridge connecting to the main building. And then the taller one sits behind the wider one. A little off on an angle, but that one looks 10, 20 feet. Maybe more. Not sure from the way your angle is, but you can definitely tell there's another taller building behind the big one. And like you just hear like just the waves kind of hitting like just kind of put yourself in that mindset, like it's quiet, but like there is that white noise of the constant waves hitting against the rocks, and kind of, I don't know.
Do the statues have any kind of like carvings, plaques, anything like that? Nameplates?
Like Anlac and Lamaze.
Lamaze.
No, there's no nameplates. It was one of my favorite things you did. No, it just looks like the shape of a dragon with mouths open.
Shall we see if anyone's home?
Knock and you shall receive.
Oh, we have a key. I will head up to the front door of the wide building in front of us, like that, like main building.
It's separated by 30 feet of water. You're going.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
So we're just
like,
standing at a cliff edge looking at this.
Yes, but on your side of it are these two dragon statues.
Statues.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we have to try and figure out a way to cover 30 feet.
Does the key fit into the statue's mouth?
You want to take a closer look?
Sure. I'll look, stick my head in, stick my hand in. I'm a barbarian.
I'll push the button.
Shocking grasp on one of them.
Yeah, you go up to one of them, and it's good craftsmanship. It's definitely, you've seen some better days, but as you're just looking at it, you're looking at the head, the wings, the body, all of it seems fine. And then you notice at the base of the statue, kind of like where the platform is, there looks like a small hexagonal indentation, about an inch wide or so, and a couple inches deep, maybe.
A couple inches, you say?
Giggity.
Give Zugarf one moment. No, I'm just
I literally need one moment.
Who has the key? I believe Fontaine does, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Runara gave it to him.
I'll just kind of point it out. Fontaine, come take a look at this.
I pull the key out. Does it look like there's a specific way it would go in? Is there like a front and back to the key?
I mean, one side of the stone, I believe, has a dragon head carved on it, if I'm not mistaken. Prism.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, you can try
So
it either way.
I would slide the other side into.
So, you could see the carving still.
Yes.
Yeah. It fits like seamlessly, and like as soon as you do that, you kind of take a step back and you just see like a little sparkle of something. It's a little like, what was that? And then you just see the eyes of both of the dragon statues just like they like open with like this silvery, shimmery light, almost like wisping out of them. And this like energy starts to like come out of them, going from the back, and naturally forms a this like energy bridge of sorts, if you will. Yeah, kind of right in front of you, and it looks
Like Crota.
It looks like Crota, yes. That's a pretty good reference, actually.
That's
it looks
a
a lot.
deep cut.
That looks, yeah, it looks a lot like that.
I take off running before it's fully formed and try and jump across.
I
Guardian
stand on
down.
the side.
Sword.
Guardian down.
I kill the sword bearer and
Kill
stand
the
up
sword
on that
bear.
ledge, kind of like on the bottom.
Sword bear
With
down.
icebreaker.
Goodness, that's a great cut. And as you see this bridge form in front of you, I think that is going to be a magnificent spot to pull a Josh and end the episode.
Oof.
Yeah,
That what it feels like.
We're in the end game now.
it is. It is kind of what it feels like. It's like, yeah, I want to keep going. But
It is the end game.
We're in the
it
end
is a
game.
10:15, which I don't have an official time for this game, but I'm getting tired. And I
Yeah.
think it's a good spot to
Yeah.
do the next one.
Ugh. Yep.
Well, I'm curious to see how you guys are gonna progress here. This is gonna be a fun little. This is a fun thing. There's a lot of fun little choices that I think I'm gonna understand more until after you guys. Until after the campaign's over, we can talk about it. That's just how it goes.
Tune in next session for the TPK.
Yes, the TPK is on the way. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, if you haven't liked the video or subscribed, please do so now, and check out all the information in the description about our wonderful cast here. And
Join the Discord.
go to the Discord, check out our link tree. That's true. That's a good thing. We like hanging out with our new friends. And
Use a ttrpg overlay, such as this one.
Yes.
For
this is
your
the Ocean
next
Adventure. Yes. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Be kind to each other. It is worth it. And yeah, we'll see you next time.